Hello, Motor Rider World fans, and welcome to our second ever live Talking World Superbikes, where we're going to do just that. Talk World Superbikes from the latest round that happened at Misano track, the Misano Marco Simoncelli circuit out in Italy. A fantastic place to go. Luckily enough, I've been to the circuit before at World Ducati Week. Even got to stay 2016, stay a couple extra days and join Brad Binder when he was testing his Moto3 bike back then. Fantastic circuit, fantastic part of the world, especially if you're a Marco Simoncelli fan and a Valentino Rossi fan. It's pretty much the home of Italian superstars, that side. So, yeah, an iconic place to go visit and a beautiful place to watch motorsport in general, two wheels or four wheels. But it was World Superbike action, and we are going to talk everything World Superbikes from the Misano race and all the juicy nitty-gritty bits of news and gossip that came out of the paddock from the weekend, and there sure was a lot of it. So, yeah, buckle yourselves in, get nice and comfy, because you do not want to leave. You don't want to miss anything. Ian, Luca Jefferson, best part of Monday nights. How are you, Ian? Hope you and the whole family are well. Nicole Briat, always ready and willing to join us. Hello, Uncle Rob. How are you, Nicole? Hope you're keeping well. Natalie Mayron. Hey there, Rob. How are you, Natalie? Daniela Kirby from Beam Productions. How are you, Daniela? After they've been at Kalami Monday Club shooting all day, taking pictures of some beautiful motorbikes, including my brother, Sean Portman, testing some real classic two-stroke Yamahas, an RD350 and an RD500 something or other that, yeah, I don't know too much about them because anything pre-2005, I would say I'm not too interested in. So, yeah, I gave that role to my brother and he pulled it off perfectly. Sean Meredith, when you're going to lose the SA accent? Well, I have, mate. Can't you tell? I'm sitting here with my mum. We've just had our fish and chips, and now we're going to talk World Superbikes from Misano. I was at a ref not so long ago, a ref Motogp, but now it's World Superbikes. We're going to talk about Johnny Ray, Scott Redding, and all them very fast British lads we're going to talk about. So, yeah, and keep a lookout. Some very exciting news coming from Sean Meredith and the team with something very exciting in July. So keep a lookout on the Motor Rider World Facebook page. That's a bit Australian, so I haven't quite said certain words like me mum. I can say me mum nicely, fish and chips, a ref, it's a ref. So I can say those kind of things in the British accent, but that's otherwise I tend to go more Australian after that. So, yeah, keep a lookout on the Motor Rider World Facebook page, Sean Meredith's Facebook page, Smashton Industries Facebook page. Some exciting news that you do not want to miss out on happening in July very, very soon. So, yeah, welcome, Sean Meredith, in my South African accent. Jacques Smuts, hey, Uncle Rob, how you doing, Jacques? Paul Horamser, Justin DP, Yvonne Pretorius, Denise, Gala, Stephen, and Bronwyn Kalkoxi. Stephen, I hope you're wearing your nice Kawasaki World Superbike top representing the brand that you love so much. Richard Hawkins, all the way from Port Elizabeth. Luis Falcao, Rian van Rensburg. Nicole, I'm doing very well, thank you. And yourself? I'm doing very well, thank you, Nicole. Loving it in sunny England. It's been nice and sunny here, believe it or not. Shorts and t-shirt. I even got sunburnt. I've got a sock tan from the UK, believe it or not. So, yeah, it's beautiful weather here at the moment. Brian Wilkie, hello, how's it, Rob? Good to meet you in Barcelona, Brew. Yeah, Brian, was great to meet you and your son. Seems like you are seasoned travelers, and I'm glad we could sort you out with those signed caps from Brad and Darren Binder. Always love being able to help out because the paddock is so close now in MotoGP. Not always easy for all the fans to get in. So very, very nice to meet you and very happy we could sort you out. Sean, why are you laughing, mate? What's so funny? This is how I talk. This is how I talk naturally. Support Man United. Manchester all the way. Daniela Kirby, well, I don't know. Are you laughing? Paul Dreyer from Wing Promotions. Paul, how are you? I believe you guys are racing Short Circuit Series in South Africa this weekend, maybe. So good luck to you and your very talented and fast young man. Hunter Dreyer, of course. I'm sorry, Jeff Latham Photography. Good evening, Rob. How are you, Jeff? Hope you're well. Rian Fernandez. Alvaro Batista was just mad on that Ducati bushing for the front, but I think he meant pushing for the front. Ricky Close, Francois Holzhausen, Rob Hairpin. Hi, Rob. I was born in the UK, then lived in SA for 33 years, and back in the UK, still have my SA accent. My sister's been in the UK also for 20 years now, and she's still got her South African accent. She throws in the odd little, like, Wimbledon accent, where they talk a little bit posh every now and then, but it's not too often. But every now and then she throws in the Wimbledon, especially now when the tennis is coming up, and she throws it in. But I'm not there yet. Chris Sears, Wayne Jolson from Planes, Trains and Automobiles. If you want any kind of signed awesome memorabilia from the Binder Brothers and Rossies or Formula One, whoever, Planes, Trains and Automobiles in Melrose Arch and Bedford Centre. Check out those stores. So, evening everyone. We've got a lot of people here. Aaron Smith, Stephen Bain, Liverpool football all the way, Rob. Catch a wake up. Sorry, Stephen. Yeah, I'm a Man United fan, although it's not. You can't brag about that anymore. Whereas Liverpool, hats off Liverpool, doing a fantastic job. Got to give them credit. Got to give them credit where credit is due. So yeah, it's hard to say, but that's how it is. Yeah, Stephen's got his shirt and his cap, his Johnny Ray stuff. That's awesome. So everybody, let's talk World Superbikes from Misano. Now, before they even spun a wheel or did a lap around the Misano track, the news came out. Daryl Bryce, Nathard. Good evening, Rob. Daryl, how are you doing? The news broke that Toprak Razgatlioglu will not be moving to MotoGP now. A couple of reasons for this. Obviously, with RNF Yamaha or RNF and Yamaha splitting, no more satellite Yamaha team in MotoGP. So Lynn Jarvis pretty much phoned Toprak and said, listen, you're still going to test the bike for us sometime now in June, but there is no space for you to move to MotoGP. Toprak and Kenan Sofoglu had said from day one that they'll move to MotoGP, but only if it's a factory ride. So that's definitely not going to happen. So in an interview with Kenan Sofoglu and Toprak Razgatlioglu before the weekend even started, they said the talks are over. They're not even thinking about MotoGP anymore. They've got the test, which they're going to go enjoy and see how, if he does enjoy a MotoGP bike, if it's something that interests him. But for now, not bothered. He wants to be the king of World Superbikes, staying with Yamaha for the next 2 years to try and win a World Superbike title, 2 World Superbike titles, and then potentially look at a MotoGP ride after that, a factory ride, that or nothing. And Kenan and Toprak were very firm in that statement that they will only move to MotoGP if they get a factory ride, and that's not going to happen anytime soon. So good news for World Superbikes, because I think Toprak is a great addition to World Superbike. I think he's sparked life back into World Superbike in many ways. Love watching him ride a motorcycle. I was privileged enough to watch him in Estoril, and he's just fantastic to watch. I think he's a great ambassador for World Superbike, a great personality for World Superbikes. So anyway, I think that's great news, and it's going to be awesome to see Toprak challenging the likes of Johnny Ray, Alvaro Batista, what's only really those two, for the World Superbike title this year and beyond. Starsky Williams, evening, Rom. How are you? Gerrit Erasmus, the greatest invention ever from Beam Productions. Him and Daniela are just, from Beam Productions, there would be no Motor Rider World without Gerrit and Danielle from Beam Productions. And of course, Sean Portman back in South Africa with all the work that they're doing. So big thank you to you guys. Rogan Taylor. Hey, Robs, how's it? Rogan, you can't say how's it anymore. We're both British, mate. You can't say how's it anymore. That's just not, we don't talk like that anymore, Rogan. Come now, son. We don't say that. Say, you're right, love. Okay, we can't say love because we're men, but all right, love. You want a cup of tea? That's how there's no more house it. We don't do house. Richard Grimmett, how's it, Rob? Thanks for sharing again. Christian Bassan. Who's it, Robbie? Praat Afrikaans account work. Praat Afrikaans account work. Axel, Beverly Peterson Undal. Hello, Rob. Shane Foley. What makes Alvaro shine on the Ducati? Mark Clift is laughing because I'm trying to do his British accent here. So, ek kan net 'n bietjie van die taal praat nie, maar nie baie nie. So ek sal nie myself an idiot look like. I don't know how to say that in Afrikaans. So we're going multilingual here on Talking World Superbikes with Motor Rider World. Shane Foley, what makes Alvaro shine on the Ducati? So we saw him back in 2019. Alvaro Batista should have won the world title then, kind of threw it away to Johnny Ray. Johnny Ray did well in the Kawasaki to fight back and it was brilliant. It was a brilliant championship, but Alvaro did pretty much throw it away. He then moved to Honda, 2 dismal years in World Superbikes on a Honda for Alvaro Batista, and he just seems to have come back. I don't know, through those tough times at Honda, where he just just reinvented himself, found harder and better ways to ride a motorcycle. Because even when Alvaro did resign for Ducati, and I'm sure a lot of you thought, what are Ducati doing? He had his chance, get rid of him, get some young, get Petrucci or get someone else in there. But credit to Ducati, it's working. And I just think it's a combination of that ultra fast, almost MotoGP styled Panigale V4. And it really is the closest thing to MotoGP in terms of production superbikes that you can get. And then you put a previous MotoGP rider on it, and the tiny figure that is Alvaro Batista. And I can't tell you how small that guy is. He's, a little bit, tiny bit taller than Sheridan Moraes. So he really is a tiny rider. And I think watching from the side of the track in Estoril, the way when that Ducati hooks up and goes with Alvaro, and it just goes. The electronics seem to work a bit better than the Kawasaki and the Yamaha. Watching from the side of the track in Estoril, I said it in Talking MotoGP from Estoril that, while the Yamaha and the Kawasaki seem to hold back on the side of the tire on the traction control, at Ducati, and Alvaro does a great job of getting the bike stood up on the fat part of the tire really, really fast. He breaks deep, squares it off, and gets it stood up really fast. And that is how you ride the Ducati Panigale V4. Even when you do the production bike test, the Yamaha, you can let go of the brake, run corner speed. It doesn't mind being on the side of the tire. The BMW is very stubborn in many ways. The Kawasaki is very stubborn, but the Ducati, you go deep, you point and squirt, and it just takes off. And that's what's happening with Alvaro. And I think Alvaro came into the new season, speaking to him at Estoril, came into the new season wanting to prove a point. He had to prove a point after his 2 really bad years with Honda in World Superbikes, and it's working to his credit. The Panigale, I heard a statistic from the Misano weekend. I couldn't believe it. That Ducati won their last World Superbike championship with Carlos Checa 11 years ago. And I was like, impossible, man. Since then, they've had, the Panigale V4s. They've had these great motorcycles. They've had these great riders on their bikes. True as nuts, the last time they won a world title was 11 years ago. So same with MotoGP. You think the last time Ducati won a MotoGP world title was with Casey Stoner all those years ago. Just Ducati have thrown so much tech and so much development and so many riders at the 2 world championships that you think they've won plenty, but they haven't. So it was a big year for Ducati and for Alvaro, and I just think it's gelled. I just think it's worked. He's got that advantage of top speed. He hates when people bring it up in the debriefs because he's riding the bike as well. You still got to ride a fast bike. There's no doubt about that. But he does have that advantage of a fast motorbike, especially with the way it just jumps out of the turns. But he's getting the job done. What is it, a 34-point lead now or something over Johnny Ray in the championship? If Alvaro Batista and Ducati throw this championship away this year, Alvaro Batista must retire and Ducati must just stop with World Superbikes, because this is their best chance at it. Staying with Ducati, as I just look at some of the comments here quickly, so I don't want to go too far from it. Daryl Nothard, I think Toprak will kill himself on a MotoGP bike. The MotoGP bike is not as forgiving as the World Superbike Yamaha, the way he goes into the corner. So Daryl, I agree with you. We've spoken about it a lot of times. Toprak would have to do a lot of adjustment to his riding style for a MotoGP bike, mainly because, like you said, of the rigid, one direction nature of a MotoGP bike compared to a more production World Superbike. That's a little bit more forgiving, but I think he would struggle mostly with the adaptation from Pirelli tires to Michelin MotoGP tires. To be honest, I think that's where he had really struggled. We've seen the Michelin MotoGP tires are very also one directional. When they're upright and they're gripping, they're cool, but when you just put them under a little bit too much pressure or do something they don't like, they just let go. So that's where he would really have to. And I'm really keen to see this test that's supposed to be happening now in June with Toprak testing the MotoGP bike. I'd love to hear his comments, and just hopefully we get a lot of footage. Being Dorna and MotoGP, they don't like to release a lot of footage, but hopefully we'll get a lot of footage of Toprak riding that MotoGP bike, because I would love to see how that goes. But I agree with you, Daryl. I think it's, I think Toprak, the whole Toprak aura, the whole Toprak personality, everything just fits in better with World Superbikes. And I don't know if that move to MotoGP is honestly going to happen. We could see it in 2 years' time if he does go and dominate World Superbikes a bit more, but the way he was talking and saying he wants to do what Johnny Ray's done, he wants to be Mr. World Superbikes, kind of just tells you. And Kenan Sofoglu was also like, we're here to focus. World Superbikes has always been our number one plan. If he goes and wins a couple more championships, then we will relook the MotoGP seat. But again, only for factory rides. So you're going to have to wait and see how all that plays out for sure. Vaughan Richardson, well done to Peter Hickman and Glenn Irwin in the TT. Glenn is the fastest newcomer ever. Crazy stuff. Yes, check out the Motor Rider World Facebook page. We put a nice digital magazine together for everyone to enjoy. So click on it, page through the digital magazine. You don't have to wait a month, 2 months for a print magazine to come out, and it's all old news by then. We give it to you now, right now. So you can click on it, enjoy it for free. Kindly sponsored by Henderson Racing Products and Dunlop Tires, who just dominated the TT this year. But Peter Hickman is phenomenal. Four wins in the week. Came close to the 5, just missing out in the super sport classes, but phenomenal rider. You have a bittersweet relationship with the Isle of Man TT because you take your hat off to the guys and how heroic and skillful and that they are, but then there's that side with all the the sad passings of a lot of the riders, and that's just leaves that sour taste in your mouth. So it's hard to kind of grasp it because there's the side that you love and you want to cheer, but then there's the side that why are they doing it? But anyway, it's still a spectacle. Glenn Irwin is Peter Hickman's biggest rival, I think, in the next couple of years. He was the best newcomer, had those technical problems, but he certainly is going to be a big rival to Peter Hickman in next year's Isle of Man TT. Hopefully I can get across for that one. Now that I'm UK based, I will absolutely love that. Went in 2017. Isle of Man TT is something you have got to do if you have not done it. Starsky Williams, brilliant Afrikaans. Thank you. Bayadanki, Starsky. Connected. I hope I said that right. Jacques Smuts, the way Gigi was sitting in Alvaro's pit seat and rubbing his chin made me think he was planning how to move Alvaro back to MotoGP. Nah, Alvaro will never go back to MotoGP. He will get eaten alive there. I think it is a big crossover, and there's not enough seats in MotoGP. It definitely seems to be that MotoGP has become the feeding mill to World Superbikes, and the riders are happy with it. If I look at Iker Lecuona and Javi Vierge, fantastic jobs again in Misano on those Hondas. I think they are going to be strong title contenders. The more they develop that Honda, I think Leon Camier is doing a fantastic job. I'm hopefully going to get a chat with him soon in the break, so we can talk about the development of the Honda and World Superbikes. Because Javi Vierge and Iker Lecuona, unfortunately, Javi Vierge had that big crash in race 2, but he was right in the mix in the Super Pole race. Lecuona was right in there in race 2. Okay, beyond the top 3, it was pretty spread out. It was pretty boring race number 2. But the Honda's coming, and they've got 2 young, fast riders. And I think a lot of the teams in World Superbike can learn from Honda's direction with going with young, fast riders. Take some riders from Moto2. Bring them into World Superbikes rather than going, no disrespect, the Leon Haslam, the Tom Sykes, the Eugene Laverty, the Loris Baz kind of route. Get this young, fresh idea and put them in there. If I look at Darren Binder's move to MotoGP, the same, it worked out for Quartararo. No one thought Quartararo would do it, but these young ideas, young, dumb, and full of just sometimes can spark something else and make things work. So Jacques, it was good to see Gigi and almost the whole Ducati crew. That DJ Antonio was there to support. So they definitely the big bosses from Ducati were there. So they definitely putting a lot of eggs in that Alvaro Batista basket, and it looks like they're finally going to pull it off. Like I said, if they don't, then I don't know what to say anymore about Alvaro Batista. You must just call it quits there. Craig Maloney, the voice of choice, is joining us. Thank you so much for all the Isle of Man TT coverage, Greg Maloney. Go to his Facebook page, Greg Maloney, the voice of choice, and you'll see all the updates. He literally gave us minute by minute updates on the TT. It was absolutely fantastic. So thank you, Greg Maloney. Fantastic. Love your work, as always. Let's have a look here. Mark Cliff, get Toprak in MotoGP and get Yacht in World Superbikes and give Sheza a seat. Love your thinking there, Mark. But I think that's where it ends. I think it's just thinking and dreaming for now. I don't know if that'll happen. Rob Harpen. Rob, I think Alvaro is going to take it this year. Johnny doesn't seem to have the pace, and Toprak is also battling, but let's see how it pans out. So both Toprak and Johnny came out after this weekend and said, we just don't have the package to compete with Alvaro Batista. So it's almost like they've admitted defeat this early on. And that can look. Someone commented today, and I think it's a valid point. Yamaha kind of rested on their laurels, and they're very good at doing this. Well, in MotoGP, we we won our world title, so let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's change the bike a little bit. And it's worked so far in MotoGP, despite Quartararo and all us journalists saying they'll never win, the bike's too slow, it's rubbish, it's old. They're leading the World Championship, they're winning. So you can understand Lynn Jarvis and them and saying, well, what's wrong with it? We're getting the job done. But in World Superbikes, it also looks like they just didn't develop enough. They just said, well, we won the world title on this, let's just, update the electronics a little bit, lower the rider seat so it gives him more center of gravity, and. They just haven't made this progression. Although, having said that, both Johnny Ray and Toprak have gone faster at every race that they've been to so far this year, and by quite a margin. It's just that Alvaro and Ducati have taken it to another level. So Toprak and Johnny are going faster than they did last year. It's just that they have this third person in the championship now, Alvaro Batista. They had Scott Redding last year, but he was just, blew hot and cold a little bit too much, where Alvaro is just doing this. It's going to be very hard to stop Alvaro Batista. I agree with you, Rob. It just seems like Johnny and Toprak have almost given up hope already. And how can you blame them when you're riding your hard tight coming onto the front straight and this Ducati just blows by you at will almost. He doesn't have to pass under the brakes. Although credit to Alvaro, he does do some of the passes on the brakes. He can literally just pick and choose his moves. He can just wait until the straight and blast straight past them. So they've got that advantage. And staying with the Ducati, and I want everyone to listen now because I'm going to put out a Poop or Scoop World Superbike Edition episode tomorrow because big news coming out of the World Superbike paddock. And I've heard this. I heard mumblings in Estoril and I kind of laughed it off. But this rumor just seems to be gaining more and more traction. Johnny Ray has not got a contract signed with Kawasaki for next year. He has said he would like to stay. He's talking to them, but, and there's a but there, there's a big but. Ducati could be an option for Johnny Ray. We know that Rinaldi, 2 podium finishes now in Misano, but generally hasn't got the job done on the second factory Ducati seat. There will be that seat available. Now there's talk that, what's his name? The youngster in World Superbikes, Axel Bassani could make the progression up. I don't think he's, I think he, like Rinaldi fit perfectly in a satellite kind of Ducati ride with the odd really good ride. But as soon as you get into that factory team, I just don't think they have that little bit extra to be in a factory team. I think, stay where you are, get more money, maybe a little bit more support from Ducati, but keep them in that environment and let them just flourish in that environment. Factory Ducati comes with a status, and I don't think the Pisani's have that. Let's talk about Petrucci for what he's doing in Moto America, coming to World Superbikes. I think there will be a good introduction, a personality like Petrucci, although I don't know. I don't think, with all due respect, I don't think he'll keep up with the Topraks, the Johnnies, and the Alvaro. So the big news is that Johnny Ray is potentially talking to Ducati about a potential move to Ducati. Now, I personally, and let me know what you think, I personally think that's a great move, and I would love to see it because not many riders have won a World Superbike title on 2 different manufacturers. We've seen, I think Max Biaggi do it, if I believe so. I think Max Biaggi did it. Did he not? Did he win it on the Suzuki and the Aprilia? Let me know. James Toseland did it on a Ducati and a Honda. I think he's another one. Other than that, the Fogartys didn't. He only did it on the Ducati, moved to Honda, didn't work out. I would love to see Johnny Ray just break the mold of being in green and just go for something different. He's at that point in his career where he is Mr. Superbikes. We know how fantastically fast he is. I want to see him do it on something else, and I would love to see him on a Ducati or a Yamaha for that matter, but something different and just go for a title and really stick it to them, because I think Johnny Ray is a phenomenal talent. I would just love him to see him do it on something else. The downside to that for Kawasaki is I think that'll be the end of Kawasaki in World Superbikes, if I'm speaking openly and honestly, because Johnny Ray carries that project, carries that bike. That bike, where Alex Lowe's finishes on that bike is where that bike, in my mind, that's where it should be finishing. I think Johnny just takes it above and beyond its pure capabilities. So if Johnny does leave that team and they replace him with I don't even know who you'd replace him with, maybe a MotoGP outcast, but none of those guys really want to go that way. You could look into Moto2. Is there anyone in World Supersport really coming up? Dominica Goethe, I don't know who Kawasaki would get to fill that ride. Let me know what you think as well. But that is big news coming out is that Johnny Ray is talking to Kawasaki, and he's happy that he's talking to Kawasaki, but there is this but, and Ducati just seems to be coming up. And I think Ducati, from a branding exercise, to have Mr. World Superbike on, to have him and Batista dominating World Superbikes in 2023, I think would be a brilliant marketing exercise. So let's see what happens there. Nicole Brea, did the heat play a very big role in Jonathan Ray struggling with grip and rear tires? Nicole, yes, it did. Johnny has always kind of said as soon as the temperatures go up, it really does hamper him and the Kawasaki and the tire choice that they have got to go with. Other manufacturers, Batista also, he's lightweight, doesn't put as much pressure on the tires. The way he rides the bike, where it's just point and squirt, he's not, like Toprak and Johnny, like really digging that front tire in and trying to carry that corner speed, staying on the edge of the tire for long. So he doesn't use a lot more tire. And you think a rider like Alvaro Batista, let's just say he's 5 kilos lighter than Johnny and Toprak, and it's probably more because Toprak's quite tall. Johnny's, got a bit of muscle to him. Alvaro's just a tiny little guy. That's 5 kilos round every single corner, down every single straight, putting more force on those tires. So it is Darren Binder's problem in Moto3, the extra weight, just putting more force on those tires. So I think it was a combination of heat, and I just don't think the Kawasaki, like I said, I think Johnny just he sprinkles magic dust over that Kawasaki every time he climbs on it. So I would love to see Johnny Ray on a Ducati. Richard Grimmett, what's with all the hate from the Poms for Darren Binder? Is it because Jake Dixon didn't get the seat, or is there something deeper? Richard, I'm not too sure. I don't know. I'm a Pom and I love Darren Binder. He's my mate. He's my absolute mate. Love him, son. But I don't know. I think it could be because that was supposed to be Jake Dixon moving to that slot. Although Jake Dixon has been, another scoop or poop, has been offered that ride on Dovi's factory Yamaha for the rest of the season in the RNF Yamaha team, because apparently Dovi is calling it quits after the Misano race, or anytime soon. He's just going to have enough. But yeah, Dixon turned that down as well. I think he hasn't proven enough in Moto2 for me. I know Darren Binder didn't prove anything in Moto2, but he did the Moto3 thing. But, Darren took the chance, got offered a ride that probably a lot of other people got offered that didn't want to take it because it was an old spec Yamaha in the worst team in the paddock, the budget, a low salary perhaps or something. Darren took the challenge head on, and he's thriving at the moment. So, Richard, yeah, it could be a combination of no Jake, and the fact that Darren Binder's proving a lot of people wrong. Human beings in general don't like to be proved wrong, and Darren is proving a lot of people wrong. Faik Phillips, evening all. Rob, will you be attending more World Superbike races? Seems a more friendlier and more enjoyable experience. Faik, I will definitely be. I'm hoping. I really wanted to go with my mate Mark Clift now from the UK here to the Donington World Superbike ground. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm working on some other connections because it does cost money at the end of the day. But I'd love to. Definitely going to try and get to more World Superbike races. I'm definitely going to be going to some British Superbike races as well. And there's no doubt it's a more friendly, more accommodating experience compared to MotoGP. MotoGP, if you have that luminous gold pass, the media pass, you can spend 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 euro on a paddock pass experience with one of the MotoGP or Moto2 or Moto3 teams, and get in the paddock and get trackside access. You can't beat it, but not a lot of people can. Whereas World Superbikes is a lot more accommodating. You buy your weekend pass for whatever it is, 60, 100 pounds for Saturday, Sunday. You get full paddock access, and you've seen the paddock shows where you get right with the riders as they come in on the red carpet. They park their bikes right there. You can feel the heat right off their bikes. You can smell their dirty underwear from cooking themselves the whole race. You celebrate on the podium. Alvaro Batista spray champagne all up in your face. You can hug them, kiss them. They're there. You get full access to them, sign. And while they're there, the other riders are in Park Ferme. They park right up close to you. You can get pictures, talk to them. It really is a lot more fan-friendly and fan-accommodating. So definitely going to try and get to more. And that's why we're doing these Talking World Superbike shows. And we're starting to highlight a bit more World Superbike on our website, YouTube channel with these kind of interactive shows and poop and scoop segments and stuff, and on our Facebook page. So yeah, keep a lookout for more World Superbike content. I know I'm still catching up with comments here. I just like to get everyone in. CP Boertz, Rob, why don't you arrange group packages to accompany you to races? I would like to do such a trip. You already know the ins and outs. So CP, I would love to, and I've been approached by a lot of people to do that. World Superbikes is a little bit more accommodating, like I've just spoken to. The problem with MotoGP is I can organize fantastic packages. If you go to polepositiontravel.com, you see the amazing packages on there. Unfortunately, when you're coming from South Africa and you times the currency by 17, it adds up to a lot of money. So without your aeroplane tickets and everything, to get a really good experience like I get to experience MotoGP, you're going to be looking at a minimum of 20,000 Rand for a full weekend paddock pass. And it is a lot of money, it is. But for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you get breakfast, lunch, supper. You get team visits, so you go into the team boxes to see the bikes, the riders, and everything. You're in the hospitality with the team and all the riders. So if you buy a paddock pass through the RNF team that Darren Binder's in, you get full access to him. You get awesome stuff. You get caps. Like I said, you get wined and dined for the whole weekend. So yes, it's a lot of money, but if you pick it apart, you do save having not having to spend money on food, not sitting on an embankment for the whole weekend, getting burnt by the sun and suffering, or if it rains, you bug it. You do get that whole experience. So yeah, I mean, if you want to private message me, I can hook you up and put you in contact with the best people to speak to, and we can talk about figures and that. But a lot of time I get asked and I tell people the prices, and then I just never hear from them again. So you just got to prepare yourself that if you want that full experience with the way MotoGP is now, you are unfortunately going to pay a lot of money coming from South Africa. Christo Basson, Rob, do you think BMW will go to MotoGP next year? Christo, I've heard big rumors that they will. Big rumors that they will. Big rumors that they will. But if I look what they're doing in World Superbikes, that's just been a disaster. It's just been an absolute disaster. Scott Redding must be kicking himself with the move that he's made. I know he's working hard. Speaking to him at Estoril, but it's just not working out. They run the Nissan brake systems compared to Brembo, and Scott just says it's just not working. They're running, their own in-house electronics compared to Magneti Marelli, which everyone else runs. So it's just almost like they're doing a KTM in MotoGP, trying to reinvent the wheel in their own ways, and stubborn Germans are just not getting it right there. So if they were to go into MotoGP and they are going to do this whole badged Suzuki thing to build up tech and give them time to build their own prototype, the Germans hate failing, and at the moment they're failing in World Superbikes. Do they want to fail on a higher level in MotoGP if they don't get it right? We're going to have to wait and see. I would love to see them. I'd love to see another manufacturer in there, but I don't know. It's still poop or scoop at the moment. It's like just 50-50. I've heard lots of rumors, and I've heard there is talks for sure. Whether it's going to happen this year or next year or whenever, I honestly couldn't tell you. So we'll have to wait and see there what happens there. Stephen Bain, I am a Ray fan, hence the green machine, but totally agree with you. It is. I can see your profile picture there, Stephen. Also a Kawasaki fan, but they just, their machine, they put new fairings on it this year and went racing against Alvaro and Ducati. I do wonder if Alvaro is going to get hammered with the rev limiter thing, if they're going to look at Alvaro running away with his championship and hit him with a bit of a restriction. I know the Kawasaki's are. I think they should just lift that restriction and whatever restrictions there are on the Yamaha to compete. Although having said that, you can't punish Alvaro because he is really the only Ducati week in, week out that's up there. The Pisani's and the Rinaldi's, good performances every now and then, but more often than not, it's Alvaro. So you can't punish him because he's riding really well and gelling with a bike. So yeah, let's see what happens there. Greg Maloney, Isle of Man TT, talk Isle of Man. It's much more exciting. Greg, we must maybe just do a talking Isle of Man TT maybe sometime this week. Drop me a message and let's see me, you talking Isle of Man. You know a lot more than I do, so I can just do this and listen to you and ask you some fan-friendly questions, and you'll be able to answer them. So yeah, what does everyone think about that? A talking Isle of Man TT with the voice of choice, and we can pick apart. We've got talking MotoGP, we've got talking World Superbikes. We might as well do talking TT once a year, and then maybe talking British Superbikes, because like I said, I'm going to be going to a lot more of those. Fantastic TT magazine, Rob. Brilliant work by MRW. Thank you, Daryl. Aaron Smith, TT is a widowmaker, unfortunately. Yeah, like I said, that's the bittersweet kind of side to it. You can't. You've got so many pros to Isle of Man TT, but there's that one giant con of that people's lives are just being taken, and It's horrible. It's horrible. You know, I love motorcycle racing, and that's the side of the sport that I don't want promoted or people seeing in that, because, you know, and unfortunately every year that the TT goes racing, it is highlighted. So yeah, I have to agree with you. I can't argue with you on that. So let's see. In Tumeling, Morakile, I'm a little late in Tumeling. No worries. Thank you for joining us. Mark Neiman, Dovi to Yamaha in Superbike. Mark, I'm glad you brought the subject up, because I've got it written down on my piece of paper here. So Dovi and many other MotoGP riders, including Valentino Rossi and his whole VR46 crew, were at Misano, obviously, because it's around the corner from Tavullia, which is VR46 Academy. But I think this is the first time I've ever seen Andrea Dovizioso at a World Superbike paddock. Now, you can just say, oh, he just came to visit and say, how's it? He was talking to Toprak. Journalists interviewed him afterwards, and he says, it's amazing watching Toprak. He doesn't know how he brakes that late, how he controls the bike. He's phenomenally talented. He loves World Superbikes, love World Superbikes. Yeah. You know, could Dobby be looking at that route? Dobby clearly still wanted to go racing. You can say he did it for the money to sign to go with RNF Racing this year, and for sure the money was a big draw card. You know, to say no to 3, 4, potentially 5 million euros is silly. But I think he's still got a racing flame in him, and clearly he just has nothing left to offer in MotoGP. That's just moved to, it's a young man's game now. It's the Darren Binders, the Raul Fernandez, the Remy Gardners, the Fabio Quartararos, the Jorge Martins. It's their game now. So does a Dovi look at World Superbikes and go, you know, I could give that a go? So yeah, Mark, it was very interesting seeing Dovi and everything he had to say, and being right in there with Yamaha. You know, Yamaha have got him contracted in MotoGP. Maybe they're saying to him, listen, it's a failed exercise. Let's forget the rest of the year. Pull in on a Pata Yamaha, fully spec World Superbike factory Yamaha, and let's try and disrupt Alvaro Batista a bit to help Toprak out a bit. You know, maybe you can add in some MotoGP development and tech into World Superbikes. I don't think it's a bad move for Dovi or for Yamaha at the moment. Like I said, it's a failed exercise in MotoGP. Bring him to World Superbikes. I think it'll be another spark for World Superbikes to have a personality and a name like Dovi. So yeah, Mark, same thought pattern. I hope it happens. Mark Neves, Ika should be in MotoGP. Marco, it's a tough one, because I agree with you that he would have done a better job than Remy and Raul, I think, certainly. But if I just look at him and seeing him in the paddock, in the World Superbike paddock at Estoril, he's just this happy guy now. When I went to MotoGP last season, I saw him in his last couple of races, you know, he was miserable. Had a fallout, hates MotoGP, says he'll never go back to MotoGP. So MotoGP, in many ways, Scott Redding was the same. You know, Alvaro Batista, I don't think he would go back. MotoGP can be toxic, and that's what I've spoken about and worry about with Toprak Razgatlioglu, is that MotoGP can be toxic in the environment that it's scripted. You've got to do it this way. You know, no Crocs, suit and tie. You've got to answer your questions like this. You know, it's very rigid, MotoGP, compared to World Superbikes. And Iker Lecuona is just thriving in World Superbikes. I think he's loving. I think it was such a brilliant move from Leon Camion and Honda to go for him and Xavi Vierge, and it's going to make World Superbikes certainly more exciting. So yes, I would still like to see him in MotoGP, because in many ways he deserved it. But at the same time, I'm going, forget that. Love that he's in World Superbikes, and bring more of them in. Bring more of the young hotshots into World Superbikes. You know, the Marshall Strotters from Moto2. There's a couple of personalities and riders in there that I would love to see. You know, no disrespect to, you know, the likes of Leandro Mercado and those kind of guys, you know, filling up seats in World Superbikes. Let's bring some of those Moto2 young and hungry riders and put them in there and spice things up a bit. So let's see how that goes. Connie Udendahl, how you, Rob? How you doing, Connie? Thank you for joining us. Lester Holmes was at the TT. TT was epic. Lester, yes, thanks for the videos. You sent me some snippets. What I love about the videos from the TTs, you watch it and you just hear for about 2 hours, you hear this, and you're waiting for this bike to come in the picture, because you can hear them from miles away, and all of a sudden you hear this, and you're like, hair blows back, and you get a cold, because now, you know, you've had this gust of wind, and just like that, it's over. And then you wait for the next guy to come, and you do literally, if you stick your neck out too far, and you're not allowed selfie cameras with sticks because they will literally take them off. So TT, it's absolutely epic. If you can get there and enjoy it. But there's that horrible side to it that unfortunately is reality to it. In Tumaleng, it is obvious that Yamaha won't make it, but JR is a whole new rider and the bike is as quick. I think Johnny, I don't want to say has hit a brick wall with a Kawasaki. I just don't know how much further Johnny can push that Kawasaki, to be honest. I think Toprak has got something left that he can, get that Yamaha a little bit better. We saw it in the Super Pole race where he was able to beat Alvaro Batista, but it just seems like also, same with MotoGP, with the tires, temperature comes into play. It's whoever can make the best with the tires and the machine in the temperature. Toprak in the Super Pole race was fantastic. You couldn't touch him. The temperature goes up 5-10 degrees, and all of a sudden, Alvaro and the Ducati are a different package, and Johnny's nowhere. So, yeah, I just think Johnny and Kawasaki have reached the limit, and that is why there's this rumor that Johnny is talking to Ducati, because I think Johnny looks at this and going, well, nothing's going to change next year. Kawasaki aren't going to be bringing out a new motorcycle anytime soon. Yamaha aren't either, with the whole COVID and the economic times and everything. These manufacturers don't have money and resources at the moment to throw into new production bikes to bring out these new world dominators. Ducati, in a way, seem to be the only ones doing that, but they've got this Panigale V4 base that is just on another level, and they're just making it better and better and better. And I think Johnny would have looked at Alvaro coming back and just doing what he's doing and think, you know what, the only way I'm going to compete with this oak is if I'm on the same machine as him. Paul Nell, what I like about RNF next year, regardless of who will be riding for them, is that both bikes are same spec as opposed to this year's Yamaha deal. Paul, I agree with you. I think it's brilliant that they're going to be on the same spec. Darren Bin at the moment is on a lower spec compared to the other Yamaha riders, still doing phenomenal things, but love that, Paul. Yeah, I think it's going to be an even playing field for whoever's on those RNF seats. And if you don't know who it is, go check out the Scoop Was Poop that I posted on the MRW YouTube channel today, talking about the 4 riders. That's 8. The 4 riders that are in the mix for those 2 RNF seats. So let's see what happens there. Daryl Nothard, the Ducati is so much faster than the others because Alvaro only weighs about the same as Johnny Ray's boot. No weight on the bike. We've spoken about that. Absolutely agree with you. I really hope that Johnny Ray will sign a new contract with his team, as they are really a great team and they are very close. Nicole with Kawasaki, I agree with you, but I don't know if Johnny wants to go through this another year of, trying to, polish a turd in many ways. No disrespect to Kawasaki, but it's all tech. And I think they've hit the brick wall there. So let's see. Aaron Smith, Kawasaki will get someone from MotoGP if Ray leaves. Who? Aaron, I'd love to hear everyone's comments. I thought about it long and hard today. I was like, if Johnny makes this move, Kawasaki have got to replace with a big name, because Scott Renning, no disrespect, no one is going to do what Johnny's done on that Kawasaki. Nobody. No disrespect to Alex Lowe's either, but he'll have the odd good race. But no one's going to put that Kawasaki where Johnny does. But, what kind of attraction is it, that Kawasaki to other riders? If I look, I don't know who would be available to take that ride. I really don't know who. Put your answers on a postcard, please, and send it to me. Let's see. Stephen Bronwyn, Colgoxy. If Batista wins the championship, do you really think he would want Johnny as a teammate? Good question. I don't think he would, because he knows the talent that is Johnny Ray. But at the same time, I think he might accept the challenge. But Ducati have always seemed to have, especially World Superbikes, you're the number 1 rider and you're number 2, get results, don't finish 4th, 5th, get 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, the odd 1st. But, Batista's our number 1 man, Rinaldi's our 2nd, Rinaldi's worked great, you're an Italian rider, you've got some great results for us, but it's not working. There's talks about Rinaldi going to Moto2 next year. Anyway, I would just love to see the Johnny Ray on Ducati exercise workout. I really would. Stephen, I know you've just got your son Johnny Ray cap and shirts and stuff, so you don't want to hear that, your Kawasaki shirts. But I just think it would be, it would be another another drama series to play out in World Superbikes. Just another big talking point. Obviously, who will come into Kawasaki? How will Johnny and Alvaro Batista perform? And that's what MotoGP is missing in many ways. Speaking to Manuel Pacino in Catalonia about MotoGP, it's missing these rivalries. It's missing this gossip. It's missing this head bashing. The riders are in many ways too respectful, and they're forced to be these days, because if you pass too hard, you get a long lap penalty. If you do this, you're starting at the back of the grid, and if you do this, so they're so sheltered and boxed, and like a kid, don't be naughty. That these rivalries, I mean, you think of all the moves that Rossi pulled in all those years in MotoGP. Gibernau in a race, that would have been demoted a position or long lap penalty of some kind. So Rossi wouldn't have won that race. Rossi, Casey Stoner, Laguna Seca, Rossi would have been hampered there. And these could have all been championship defying moments for Rossi had he not won those races, and the politics of being demoted. And look what it did to him in that season with Marquez, where he got those 3 or 4 penalty points, started at the back of the grid, and he lost the world title because he got into silly games with Marc Marquez. So in MotoGP, the riders are so scripted again, like don't do this, don't do that, don't. Whereas back in the day, it was do those. You look at some of the Bayless Edwards from World Superbikes, that was racing. We don't want to see these long lap. Yes, I know it's hard. I've been on the other side where you've been taken out by another rider, and that's unfair, penalize him. But it's racing. I think a lot of the racing has been taken out of MotoGP, and World Superbikes has been re-sparked by this Top Rack coming in with his personality and his riding style. And when him and Johnny Ray collided at Essen, look how that sparked it. And now Batista's winning again. The problem with that is it's just those three at the moment. Now, if Batista wins it, run away, and it kind of looks like it's going that way, I think it's going to just, World Superbikes is going to lose a bit of that charm. But you throw a Dovi in the mix, and you throw Johnny into Ducati, you could have, that spark again, and you could have more personalities riding at the front, and just going at it, and there's a spectacle. So I hope I as a fan, as a journalist, I hope to see Johnny Ray on a Ducati. I know Kawasaki fans will absolutely cry because you'll have to burn all your shirts, because that'll be the end of Kawasaki, I'm pretty sure. That's just how I see it. Mark Neiman, Rob, do you think Dovi will move to Yamaha, seeing as he's losing his seat at RNF and nowhere to go under Yamaha banner and GP? Yeah, Mark, kind of just spoken about it. I don't know. I don't know how he is. His thought process of entertaining a World Superbike move. I'm going to MotoGP Essen, and I'm pretty sure a lot of journalists are going to be asking him this weekend in Sachsenring. Unfortunately, not going there. But I'm sure a lot of journalists are going to be asking. If I was there, I would say, so how was your World Superbike experience, Dovi? Are you thinking about it? And let's see what he says. I'll try and grab a word with him behind the scenes in Essen, maybe in the hospitality, or as they go into the pits or something, and see what he says. I don't know. I really hope so. I would love to see that happen. Rob Hop and Rob, they could bring in someone BSB to take Johnny's place, as there are some good riders there. Rob, I agree with you. Rory Skinner is doing a great job on the Kawasaki in BSB. There's some fantastic riders in BSB that could come up. Bradley Ray on the Yamaha is doing a fantastic job. Carl Ride. Will they? I don't know. Disrespect to them, I don't think they're anything near Johnny Ray. Rory Skinner's young enough. I think Rory Skinner's a good British young talent. Bring him in soon enough, and maybe give him a year or two. Maybe it could be a really good decision. So yeah, there's a lot of good riders coming from BSB. I agree with you there. But listen, Johnny Ray in my book is one of the top 5 elite. To be honest, I really do think Johnny Ray is a fantastic talent, and he's just, he did it on the Honda. He outshone the Honda in many occasions, and he's done it with the Kawasaki. There were years, his beginning years, where the Kawasaki was the bike to be on. Tom Sykes won his title because the Kawasaki was the bike to be on. But since then, the Tom Sykes has proved it, that the Kawasaki didn't get better. Johnny Ray and Kawasaki got better, and I think that's what they're going to miss if he does leave. Rob Bramham, he has another Kawasaki Ray fan, because I sorted out a cap for him, and he's going to hate me for this. Hey, Rob, I agree. Johnny Ray rides the wheels off that Kawa. Would love to see him on a Ducati, though. Oh, there we go, Rob. We'll have to get you a Johnny Ray signed Ducati cap if he makes that move. Vaughn Richardson, Jake Dixon crashes too much. Nice guy. Nice guy, agree. Completely nice guy. Very accommodating. Awesome. Always smiling, happy, jokey. Love his character. Is he MotoGP ready? I don't know. Aaron Smith, Rob, you No pom and never will be. What you talking about, Aaron? I'm pommy through and through, mate. I'm pommy through and through now. Now I'll always have my South African. I'll always be South African by heart. There's no doubt about that. Vessel Kruger, how's it, Rob? And friends, sorry, very late. No worries, Vessel. Welcome. You can always catch up with us. I will be putting it on our YouTube channel as well, so you can watch it there and catch up with everything we've had to say. Mark Cliff, what do you think of what Scott Smart was saying, that it's impossible that Ducati may be penalized for RPM limits? We've seen it happen before where they've been penalized with RPM limits, but like I said, it'll be a little bit unfair from Alvaro and Ducati's point of view, because if there were 5 Ducatis running at the front of the field, fair game. If there were 2 Ducatis week in, week out running at the front of the field, fair game. But it's generally just Alvaro Batista up there. Rinaldi had a great weekend in Misano, a track he loves. The Ducati works well there, but Estoril, where was he? Not really. So it would be harsh to penalize Alvaro with that because he's doing such a fantastic job. So let's see. Vessel Kruger, what would airfares be plus minus from South Africa to a MotoGP for yourself, for one person? 15 to 20 grand. That's why Thailand's a really good option, because it's cheaper flights. But yeah, anywhere between, you're going to pay 50 to 60 grand for a good MotoGP experience, if I'm being honest. Maybe even more. Probably actually even more if you count in accommodation and stuff. Although, on my trips that I've seen, if you're not, one that wants 5-star accommodation, if you literally just want a bed to sleep on, there are some really cheap options. The downside to that is you've got to either hire a car, or you're going to spend a lot of money in taxis, because they're normally about half an hour, 40 minutes, sometimes an hour drive away from the tracks. Luckily, I get a lift with Richard from Cressini, so lucky there. But yeah, it's an expensive exercise. You're looking at 60, 70 grand if you want to do it properly. So that's normally when I either get the middle finger emoji on WhatsApp, or I just never hear from people again. So let's have a look here. I'm just going to try and catch up. I know I'm quite far behind on the comments here, Rob. I think BMW must fit one of the bikes with ECU and brakes that the rest are using, and see what happens. Scott Redding was kind of, just saying that's the exact kind of point. He says, there's nothing against the Nissan and the electronics that they're using, but if 99% of the field are using that, go with that. Don't be stubborn. Go with that. If you want to compete, go with that. Honda are doing a good job with Nissan. They also run Nissan, and they seem to be making improvements on it. But they're still not challenging the Ducatis and the Kawasaki and the Yamaha, Alvaro Batista, Ray, and Top Rack at the front. So I agree. Richard Smith, 10% discount to all Motor Rider World fans, Uncle Rob with the Cressini. So there we go. If anyone is looking for a proper, and when I tell you the best MotoGP experience you will ever get in your life, I'm talking pit box visit, where Richard Smith and someone from Cressini takes you into the pit box. You see the riders, you hear those bikes fired up, you see them get out and onto out of pit lane and onto the track. Depending on which package you go for, you could stand on the pit wall for the start of the MotoGP race. Again, if you're willing to spend more money, you can get a grid pass. But for your general weekend with the Cressini team, it is fantastic. And there are options to get involved from a sponsorship point of view, so you can get yourself a more permanent pass type pass with the Cressini team. It costs a little bit more upfront, but then you've got access for the rest of the season. That includes service roads, so you can go watch on some service roads. Like I said, you are wined and dined by one of, if not the best hospitality in the paddock. So if you are keen, hit me a message. I certainly can put you in touch with the likes of Richard Smith and some other contacts that we have within the MotoGP paddock, and we'll give you some numbers and let's talk about it. But like I said, if you want to do it properly, you're going to pay some money, but then you're going to do it properly. You're not going to sit on a grass embankment and watch the same corner Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You get a proper experience. You will see all the riders in the paddock, because it's busy, but it's not that busy. You'll see the riders. They stop, they say hello, they take a photo, they sign all your gear. If you come as well, obviously, and if I'm in a race, we'll definitely get you to meet Brad and Darren Binder. Although, like I said, keep a lookout on the Motor Rider World Facebook page for some very exciting news coming up soon and in July for all South African fans. But yeah, as Richard said, we'll sort you out. We'll make a plan for you. If you are interested, drop me an email, rob@motorriderworld.com. Send me a messenger message, or you can WhatsApp me on 082-782-8240. That's still my SA number, but I can only get WhatsApps on that number. So drop me on WhatsApp and let's talk. Let's try and get you into the best MotoGP experience you will ever have in your life. And like I said, we can do it once off, or we can do it on a slightly more permanent basis as a kind of sponsor within the Cressini team. And it's a lot of money, but it's not as much as you think it will be, if I'm being completely honest. Have to get Magoo on regarding TT. There we go, Bradley Johnson. So we'll definitely, yes, Edwin Norris to a TT show. So Greg, I'm going to message you. We're gonna hook up talking TT. Love the sound of that. Talking TT. Maybe later this week. I don't know how you all feeling. What's today? Monday, maybe Wednesday night, Thursday night. I don't know. Thursday's a public holiday in South Africa. So Greg, I want to message you after this. Thursday night, talking TT. TTT. Talking TT on a Thursday. That's TTTT. 40s, love it. We're onto something there. Aaron Canet to World Superbike would work. Edwin, I think Aaron Canet is very much a MotoGP paddock rider, and he's going to be wanting to go into MotoGP. I know a lot of teams have kind of scouted him and have them on their lips for 2024, not for next year because of the limited rides available there. Mickey Teal, good evening, Rob. Excited to listen to you tonight. Unfortunately, I'm a bit late. Work called, unfortunately. Mickey, no problem. Like I said, thank you for joining. I will put it on it will be permanently on our Facebook page, but I'll also put it on our YouTube channel so you can fast forward and rewind and get to all the juicy bits as well. Richard Grambert, when he stops crashing cars in his off time, you might be right. I'm not too sure you're talking about there. Scott Mordon, lots of talk about ending the TT due to fatalities. So Scott, we'll talk about that with Greg Maloney potentially on Thursday night. So keep a lookout. We'll pencil in Thursday night, 8 p.m. live South African time on the Motor Rider World Facebook page. Godfrey Mortimer, how's it, Rob, from Somalia? Hey, Godfrey, hope all is well in the beautiful Somalia. Yanni Stunda, give Kawasaki's 1,500M back, and they will take it back. They took away. Yanni, I agree with you. When I chatted to Alex Lowe's, he was saying, we've got this penalty of 1,500 RPM. And I think they should. I think they should be given it back, to be honest. People don't realize how a 500 RPM, if you look at World Supersport, the Ducati V2 Panigales there, the 955 cc's were given the extra 500 RPM, and they were challenging the R6s a lot better this weekend. So RPM makes such a difference with gear ratios, with gearing. You can hold the gear longer. It really can change the whole outlook of how you can set your bike up. So I think it would benefit Kawasaki, and I think they should have it, to be honest. Sean Heidemann, hi there, Rob. I read the other day about a 8-lap race at that World Ducati week, including World Superbike, MotoGP, and World Supersport bikes. Have you heard anything about this? So Sean, World Ducati week, if you're a motorcycle fan, never mind just about Ducati, I can tell you 100% it is an event that you've got to get to. I did it back in 2016, absolutely loved it. All the Ducati riders are there. They're accessible. All the bikes are there. They start them up. You can hear them, see them. And then they generally do this parade race on production-based Panigale V4s where they get MotoGP and World Superbike riders and they put them on. They then auction those bikes off at the end of the day. But it's a fantastic, fantastic weekend. So I don't know if that race will happen. I have seen it happen before. I was lucky enough when I went in 2016, it was Andrea Iannone was with the factory Ducati team, so got to meet him. Was a little bit miserable back then, but could understand because I think he got booted soon after that. Casey Stoner, I got to meet Casey Stoner there. Troy Bayliss was there, but I didn't get to see him, although I did meet him at Estoril, so that was a big bucket list moment, meeting my idol, my absolute favorite rider of all time, Troy Bayliss. But yeah, definitely World Ducati week. And the nice thing about it is it's at the Misano circuit, so you get to get that whole vibe. You get to go to Tavullia up the road. VR46 is right there. Go see that whole vibe. So it really is just a great kind of bucket list motorcycle event to do. Do you think, Marco, if Dovi leaves Yamaha before the end? Okay, no, will Daz be upgraded to the 2022 spec bike, 2022 spec bike? I don't see why not. I don't see if Dovi does leave, they say, right, Darren, here's the new bike. You go do your thing, and here, whoever's going to take that seat, Jake Dixon or whoever else, you get, the old bike. I think it would be the right thing to do, considering what Darren has proved in the last couple of races. And Darren is a Yamaha rider. He's contracted to Yamaha. Not the same kind of deal as Dobby has, obviously, but he's Yamaha contracted. So I think so. Why not? Richard Standard, take Nakagami to Kawasaki if Ray moves. Nakagami would be a good one. Although I don't know how invited he would feel going to World Superbikes. I think he might have another year in MotoGP with LCR Honda if the likes of Agura or Chantra don't step up, which it's looking more and more like the case. But yeah, that's a good name. Didn't think of Nakagami. That's a good one. I don't think an Alex Rins would entertain a move. I think Paul Espargaro is signed already with Tech 3 KTM going back there. So, who else is really left? Like I said, a Dovi. I can't see a Dovi on a Kawasaki. But let's see what happened there. Graham, Niven, Rob, in your opinion, what needs to be done to make the KTM more competitive in MotoGP? Time, unfortunately, which is something, especially as South African fans, we're very impatient. We're not patient. We want it to happen now. But KTM does need time. They need more development, especially if they want to make the WP suspension work and this new, this beam, half trellis beam chassis work. They need time just to develop it. Unfortunately, at the moment, Brad Binder is the monkey doing all the development, and we want to see him competing for championships and winning races and not developing a bike. So that, and the unfortunate situation is there. They need time. They need more time. I was hoping the likes of Raul and Remy would bring something fresh with their approach from Moto2 and their speed. Doesn't seem to have worked out. Maybe Jack Miller can bring something next year, coming from what is it, five years on Ducati. Hopefully he can bring something. Petrucci didn't seem like he brought anything when he came to KTM. How much will KTM listen to a Jack Miller? Well, yeah, time. Unfortunately, time. They're definitely not going to be dumping their WP suspension and beam. So we can go on and on about that all day long. How they just plug in Öhlins, put in a kind of a Ducati chassis or Yamaha chassis, and there's your problem solved. Yes, but it's not going to happen. So for KTM to make it work, they need time. Unfortunately. Matthew Scholz would be a great option to come to World Superbikes, but I do, as Mark Clift says, I think he's very comfortable in Moto America. In America, get a good salary. If you look at the likes of Gerloff and Cambodia, who have taken that leap and out of their comfort zone, living in tiny little apartments in Spain, the language barrier, the whole change, you're away from your family and friends, you're traveling from race to race in economy class, and it is a lot of, it's hard. I've done the travel to MotoGP races this year. It's hard going from airport to airport, especially when you're doing the whole economy class thing. The Quattararos and those guys do business class or chartered flights, but it's taxis and trains and buses to airports, and it's delayed at the airport. Then it's standing in queues for passport control. Then it's cancelled flights. Then it's really not as glamorous as it sounds. Once you're at the track, it's phenomenal, but sometimes getting there, it's not all it's got out to be. So I think the Matthew Scholz and the Cam Petersons, I think, might entertain it. Why not? They're still young enough and fast enough, especially what they've proven competing against Daniele Petrucci, who's come from MotoGP. And yes, he won the first couple of races, but Maddie and Cam have certainly shown their worth by sticking it to him a couple of times. So yeah, they could be good options, and I think they are fast enough to be in World Superbikes. I really do think they are fast enough to be in World Superbikes. Nicole Bread, what about Scott Redding on a Kawasaki? Should Johnny Lee? I think Scott might entertain it now that the whole BMW thing's not working out, but again, no disrespect to Scott. His size is what kills him. He's a very tall guy, and he's really into his cycling, so he's got these just tree trunks as legs, full of muscle, and it's muscle equals weight. And in World Superbikes and MotoGP, a kilogram makes such a big difference, because it's not just a kilogram it's a kilogram around every single corner, down every single straight, that extra kilogram loading the suspension, the tires, the brakes, the everything. So it's got to that point. I've said it time and time again. MotoGP and World Superbikes now is about those margins. It's about finding that 10th and a kilo and 5 kilos. A Johnny Ray to a Scott Redding, there must be 10, 12 kilos there. That is massive. How does a Scott Redding, how does he equal that out? How does he make the bike perform to eliminate that 12 kilo difference? I don't think you can. Alvaro Batista has proved it. He's climbed on the Ducati now with his lightweight and his stature. and he's untouchable in many ways. So yeah, I don't know if that'll happen. Jaconet Conradi, American Superbike won't be a bad scouting session for Kawasaki World Superbike. I agree with you, with the likes of Maddie and Cam Peterson and Jake Gagne and those kind of guys there. So that could definitely work. Geez, no, you see now I've scrolled now. There's 16 million. I'm trying to answer as many of these questions as I possibly can. Let's scroll down here. Yeah, I've caught up here. I think Brad Binder needs to be on a different bike. Pierre Diesel, we'll talking MotoGP next week Monday, but we can talk all day about Brad and the KTM. But yeah, we'll definitely dive into more MotoGP, talking MotoGP next week Monday night, live from 8 o'clock on the Motor Rider World Facebook page. We're going to go back to Facebook for now instead of YouTube because we've got a much bigger following on our Facebook, and a lot of people have asked to bring it back to the Facebook page. So we'll do that. Stephen Bain, currently from a dogfight action between the riders with the top 3 riders in MotoGP and Superbike for more entertaining. There's no doubt at the moment World Superbikes is more entertaining than World Superbikes. I have to agree with you, but MotoGP still has that status about it. You try and, it's a cool kid at school. You try and say, well, I don't want to be the cool kid at school, bugger him. This is cool. But you just keep getting drawn to that cool guy at school. And that's what MotoGP is at the moment. Even though it's not as cool as your kind of friends and what you're doing, it's still the cool kid. So yeah, you get drawn to it. There's no doubt about that. Next year with Robin Clint. Yeah, you must come to a MotoGP with me and myself, Clint, James, George, my brother, and Richard Smith are a great combination at a MotoGP race. I can tell you now, with the likes of Brad and Darren thrown in, it's awesome. It's yeah. Chat to me. Send me a message on the thing. If you've got some money saved up, or if you've got the money and you really want to do MotoGP right, let's talk. We can. I've built up some great connections now. Like I said, Richard's commented there. You get 10% discount if you're a Motor Rider World fan on a Cressini MotoGP package. They've got Moto2 package that's available as well. So let's talk. There's ways to get you to experience MotoGP the way I have. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, a lot of people talking about Jack and MotoGP, which is awesome. What's this last one here? Jorge Brandel. Rob, about Oliveira, do you think he's still going to Cressini? Jorge, like I put up the pooper scoop about Oliveira. He definitely, as far as I know, has signed a contract with Ducati MotoGP. So he's a Ducati rider. Where Ducati are going to place him now is still the big question. So he's a Ducati rider. He's a factory Ducati rider, kind of on the same deal as Martin and like Marini. So you'll have a new spec bike for next year. Whether that's going to be in the factory team alongside Pecco is still a possibility. Whether that's going to be in the Pramac team taking Zarco's place alongside Martin, if Bastianini gets the factory ride, or if he's going to be alongside Bastianini in the Pramac team, if Martin goes to the factory team, or if it's going to be in the Cressini team, is still a big question mark. I did see with my very own eyes the Miguel Oliveira, his dad, Paolo Ciabatti, and the owner of Cressini walking into the truck to have a meeting. Apparently what came out of that meeting was 2 things. There's a clash with the personal sponsor of Miguel's and a sponsor of the team, and the money wasn't quite what Miguel was looking for. I think that's where Ducati stepped in and assisted, obviously upping that salary rate to make him a factory Ducati rider, and then they'll put him whatever team he's going to go in. So I can almost guarantee that we will see Miguel Oliveira on a Ducati next year. In which colors is still the big question mark that we're waiting to see. So yeah, that's it. Everybody, thank you so much for joining me on this Monday night talking World Superbike. Absolutely love it. Remember, we'll do it after every World Superbike weekend live on our Facebook page from 8 o'clock. And then keep a lookout on the Motor Rider World Facebook page. We have those beautiful 2-strokes that we tested today that my brother and the team from Beam Productions covered. We've got a really cool video coming out with that. So keep a lookout on our page. Some nice little videos there of those gorgeous 2-strokes being fired up. And then You can almost smell the two-stroke coming through your phone or your screen, whatever you're doing. And the sights and sounds of those RD350 and RD500 will be posted soon. We've got some great content on the Motor Rider World Facebook page. We are going to start updating our website as well, start keeping that up to date with the latest news. Check out the free TT magazine that we put there, all the Poop and Scoops episodes that we're putting on our YouTube channel, some bike tests that we're going to be putting on our YouTube channel. So we're really just trying to keep you as entertained as we possibly can. We really are trying to take South African motorcycle media to the next level and expose it to the world and bring the world to South African motorcycle media. And we are working day and night. Myself, Sean, the team from Beam Productions, all the connections that we have. So yeah, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. Share the Facebook page, share the YouTube channel, share our website. Just spread the word as much as we possibly can. It really is working. If I look now from today, we've had 1.3 million hits on the Motor Rider World Facebook page. So that is awesome. And it's all thanks to you, all of you out there. So I cannot thank you all enough. But stay tuned. Like I said, got some exciting news for all MotoGP South African fans coming in July. Keep a lookout for that. We've got we've got a nice competition where you could win tickets to said exciting news with some other cool little signed cards and stuff exclusive to Motor Rider World. And then talking TT this Thursday, potentially. Keep a lookout for that link. And then, of course, Saxon Ring MotoGP this weekend. I'll keep you up to date with Paddock Talk Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And then we'll do Talking MotoGP on Monday night. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening or night. Have a great rest of your week. Stay happy, stay healthy. And until next time, I'll catch you on YouTube, Facebook, or our website, or live on Talking MotoGP, Talking TT, and Talking World Superbikes. Cheers for now.